So this past week, I was on a FaceTime call with my family. It was my dad's birthday. So it was me and my sisters on the call. And of course, they noticed that I sounded sick because I've actually just gotten over the worst case of sinusitis ever. And so when they asked about it, I told them, yeah, I've been sick. I had to cancel all my clients last week. And so this week, I'm going to have to make up for it and work 4 whole days. There was this moment of silence. And then it hit me. I sounded like the bratty little sister. You see, my sisters, they both work 9-to-5 jobs, 5 days a week. They don't have the flexibility that I do. And then I realized something. The freedom that I have today, it was built over decades. But it almost didn't happen because there was a time in my career that I just wanted to quit. I just thought I wanted a 9-to-5 job. And that's what today's episode is all about. Because I know there are hairstylists listening right now who are in that place where their career feels hard. And they're thinking, maybe a 9-to-5 job is the way to go. So if that's you, and you're in a place that the industry feels really overwhelming right now, this episode, it might help you see things a little differently. Do you want a full chair with a steady flow of clients and more confidence behind the chair, but you struggle with slow books, inconsistent income, and feeling stuck or discouraged? If so, my friend, you're in the right place. Hey, I'm Sherry Brody, hairstylist, educator, and mentor behind the chair. After rebuilding my business multiple times, I've learned how to own my chair like a business, creating clarity, confidence, and consistency without the feeling of burnout. So grab your shears, step behind the chair with me, and let's build that business you've been dreaming of. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to quickly invite you to join my On Point Pro Tips. Each week, I send out a short email where I share encouragement and real lessons that I've learned over the years behind the chair to help hairstylists build loyal clients and create more financial freedom doing what they love. If you'd like to receive those, just head over to onpointhairbySherry, SHERRI.com/pro tips and sign up. I'll also put the link in the show notes below. All right, let's jump into today's episode. Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Cutting Through It. I'm Sherry Brody, and today I'm talking about I'm sharing a story about a time in my life that was, oh my gosh, it was really a painful time in my life. But I believe that sometimes we're called to go through hard times to learn things from them. At the time when I was going through this hard time in my career, I didn't like it, and I didn't see what I see now. It's 43 years in June that I'll be in this industry. So when I'm sharing this story and I'm sharing with you about how, when we go through seasons of life that are really hard and they just seem like you just want to quit, at the time, you can't see that there's a purpose in it. And now, as I share this story, it's a very vulnerable story, but I think it's something that I feel is on my heart to share with you, because I know there is somebody out there right now that's thinking about quitting being a hairstylist because they're in a tough season. And I want you to know I've been there too. I shared with you about this phone call. I'm the youngest of 4 sisters. And so I'm usually called the brat. So on that phone call, when we were talking and, I was talking about how I was, not feeling well and I had to miss all week work. And I shared with him that I had to work 4 days. I really did sound like a brat to them. And my eyes were just really opened because after I really thought about that phone call, I thought, wow, I'm so happy that I stayed the course and that I am right now in my career, I am working 2 days a week behind the chair. And I get the blessing of doing this podcast, and I get the blessing of creating courses. If you're not familiar with it, do visit my website, On Point Hair by Sherry, SHERRI.com. I have a lot of haircutting courses, and I also do, just inspirational tips from my career, things that I've learned that I know will help you along the way. I share those in my pro tips. If you're interested in that, just visit the website and sign up for that. But anyhow, what I'm trying to say is that my life is good. I'm very blessed. And it's not because it just happened, guys. It happened because I weathered some really, really hard times and storms in my personal life. But what we're talking about today is a storm in particular that I weathered in my career that just changed my whole perspective on being a hairstylist. And I want to share that with you today. I suppose I would call this the season I wanted out. At the time, I was a salon owner. I was a salon owner of a high-end salon in a high-end center. I was in a place where, even though the salon was very successful, it was going really well, I just dreaded going into work. I wanted to quit. I remember thinking, gosh, I bet a 9-to-5 job would be so much easier than this. I thought, this is so hard. And I remember thinking to myself, like, did I make the wrong decision here to be a hairstylist and to have a salon? At the time, I had a really wonderful staff of hairstylists. They were all wonderful. They all started with me from scratch right out of school or not long after, and I trained them. And at the time, I was not only, running the everyday business, the salon, and managing the stylists, but I was working full time behind the chair as well. I had a full clientele. And I was also a mom of 3 kids. My boys were, I think they were in early, end of high school, beginning of college. And my daughter was in that place of adolescence. Oh my gosh, handful. My husband, when we decided to get this salon, he didn't really want to be a salon owner. And if I'm honest with myself, at the very beginning, when we found this salon and we ended up buying it, taking it over, honestly, I think I kind of knew deep down, but I didn't listen to that instinct inside. Because as the business grew, and let me just tell you, when we bought the salon, we had no business training at all. I mean, I had no clue of what I was stepping into. And it was soon after, and this is just my nature, I knew I needed to get a coach. So I got a coach and learned what I needed to do to get systems in place to make the salon successful. And that's why the salon at this time had been open for 13 or 14 years at this time. I cannot remember the exact amount of years, but it was running like a well-oiled machine. But on an emotional level, guys, I was exhausted. I was exhausted because I was doing all the things, working in the business, on the business, being a mom. And at the same time, I was also an educator for Wella. I had started out with Graham Webb and they became merged with Wella. So I became part of the Wella family. And I found in my career that when I got away to teach and travel, it was great. I enjoyed it. It was kind of my me time almost. I just honestly, guys, at that point in my career, I don't know. I wanted so badly just to step back from behind the chair. In my heart of hearts, I wanted to just manage and run the business. I wanted to teach more, have the salon going fine, and I could be at home and be with my kids too and not miss out on those things. But I couldn't. You see, there were some things that weren't allowing me to do that. First of all, my partner at the time and husband, he was a great hairstylist, but he wasn't ownership material. He just wasn't. He's more fun loving and joking. And so I was pretty much having to, manage the salon a lot on my own. It wasn't like he didn't help. I don't want you to think that he didn't help. That wasn't his thing. It really wasn't. And the girls just really, because I was the one that was teaching and that stuff, I was the one they looked to. So I was the lead mama. But but we had a nice home in a nice area. We had the salon. We had all the overhead. The overhead was so much that it wasn't possible for me at the time to step back financially behind the chair because we needed my income. And, I also felt like the girls at the salon, they needed me too. I wanted to be there for them as well. So I was really stretched so thin that I forgot me. So what ended up happening, guys, was, my marriage was starting to crumble. It really was. And because I was feeling resentment, I was feeling really unhappy. Things were like harder at home. And I was also not present at the salon like I normally was either. And I was in this place, like I knew I needed to do something. I knew I needed something to change in my career, but I was afraid and I was stuck. And one day I got a call from Wella, and they had asked me a couple times. They had a position open at the studio in San Francisco and asked me if I wanted it. And without really, I am a woman of prayer. I spent time with the Lord thinking this over. Like, should I take this job? Because it would be full time, guys. It would have taken me out of the salon. It was what I was thinking that was going to be so great. This 9-to-5 job. I would have insurance. I would have a salary, and I would be an educator doing what I love to do all the time. So because everything was just not good at home and was so stressful, I made a decision out of frustration and I accepted the position. I thought, my partner, he can run the salon. The girls are doing great in the salon. I made all the plans. I didn't think about how the girls at work would feel. And I was close with some of them. And I didn't think about that. All I thought about was me and getting out. And I distributed all my clients, guys, to the girls in the salon. And I went and started working in San Francisco. And I was like so excited. I thought, this is so great. I get to go teach. I get to do what I love. I don't have the pressure of all this stuff. And I just turned my back on it and just went for it. Well, it wasn't long before I started seeing how what I thought was going to be so great, I started seeing the cracks in it. This 9-to-5 thing, like I didn't have freedom anymore. I had to get up at a certain time. I had to be at the BART station, which is like the train station, to get into the city, to make sure I was there on time. I had to check a clock. I had to be in meetings. I had these set schedules. And then what I was teaching wasn't really my passion. It wasn't like I wasn't going into the salons and meeting hairstylists and doing those things. They were coming to me. And honestly, guys, I wasn't enjoying it like I thought I would love it. Something was missing. What I discovered as I spent some time as I had a lot of time on that BART. It took 45 minutes to an hour each day that I was commuting in and out. Now my salon was, maybe 10 minutes from my house. There was huge changes that happened. What I realized was I lost some things that I didn't expect to lose, that I didn't think about. The number one was I lost my freedom. I lost my freedom to come and go the way I want, even though I had at the salon, I was complaining because I had to work so much, but I made my own hours. If I needed to make an adjustment, I could do it. I couldn't do that anymore at this job. I had a boss. I had a salary. I had expectations. I no longer had control of my schedule. Somebody else controlled it. The other thing is, my income, I thought was going to be so great. Well, taxes were taken out. Everything that I thought was going to be so great, I didn't really think it through because the salary I was making was not what I was making behind the chair. Yes, I was having insurance paid, that kind of thing. But when you work behind the chair, we all know we have the power to create more income behind the chair. But here, I had a set income. I didn't have that potential anymore. In essence, guys, I lost my independence. Yeah, and I began to notice something else around me. Many of the people that I was working with, and when I would walk around the city, I noticed a lot of people weren't that happy with their jobs either. You see, guys, every job has its positives and its negatives. And I was just starting to see that the grass was not greener like I thought it was. I started realizing the blessings of being a hairstylist. What I had was I gave it up. And I wasn't as happy as I thought I was. Well, guys, it wasn't maybe a little over a year later, I got on a conference call with all the other studios, and they announced, because Procter & Gamble had bought Outwella, they announced they were making some changes. And in those changes, they were going to close the San Francisco studio. In that moment, I was speechless. I felt like somebody had hit me over the head. My heart stopped. All of a sudden, this job that I thought was going to make everything okay and everything better, all of a sudden, it was taken out from under me. Now, not only was I in a place of, shock, but I was in a place of, what do I do now? I mean, you got to remember, guys, I gave all my clients away. And what I didn't share in this amount of time that I was at Wella, I shared with you earlier that I didn't stop to think about how the girls felt. And there were some girls there that I really got close with, and they were like, I just really cared a lot about them. And in my whole thing of feeling the way I was, I didn't stop and think about how me leaving would affect them. And in essence, for the first time since I owned that salon, we had a salon walkout. Most of the girls left. This is when salon studios became popular. So not only was I now without income at Wella, I was coming back to a empty salon. There was a few stylists there. My husband was trying to pick up the pieces and hiring, but I was the one that usually picked the people. I mean, we would talk about it, but I had a good instinct with that. Well, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I did my, falling on the floor, crying, and just totally thinking, what am I going to do now kind of thing. I think what really devastated me the most out of it all, guys, was just losing the things that I had put as the most important things in my life. God he took everything away. And through this period of time, when I went back into the salon, I remember the first day I came back and I had to do all the hard things. I had to work super long hours. I had to call clients that I had given away to let them know that I was back. I had to hire new people. I had to start from ground zero. I had to rebuild not only my clientele, but the salon as well. And I can honestly tell you that as hard as it was, starting from scratch all over again, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. Because when I came back, I realized the blessing that I had in my hands of being a hairstylist. I now knew what it was like to not have my independence to pick my schedule and to work when I want to work and to create my income. I missed working with clients. I missed creating. And if I hadn't taken the step, I'm not going to say I will ever in my life regret taking that job, because it really opened my eyes to appreciate the gift that I had in my hands. But it also opened my eyes to see that I had been making decisions in my life out of fear, frustration. But one of the biggest things was, I think some of it is people pleasing. You know, I guess growing up, I never felt, I'm that youngest sister. I never felt like I lived up enough to what my parents wanted. I grew up and I was kind of a misfit. I mean, I was born with one leg that turned in. I walked pigeon-toed. My hair was cut short. I was kind of a dweeb, I guess you might think of it that way, but I didn't quite, it wasn't as easy for me to fit in. So I kind of grew up and I just always wanted to fit in, I guess. I think we all do. We all want to be accepted by our peers. So we make decisions that we think will make us fit in a little bit better. And up to this point in my life, I think a lot of decisions that I made were either that, trying to fit in, the people pleasing, frustration, making decisions out of frustration that led to my unhappiness, not really thinking things through. But starting over this time, it was different. I had something different. And what that was I had experience, and now I had wisdom. And I want to share with you 3 lessons that I want to share with you from that wisdom and from the experience that I've had that might help you, because maybe you're in a place where you're feeling like I did, like you just want to quit working behind the chair, that you're just thinking that maybe I just find a different job, everything's going to be better. So I want to give you some things to think about before you make that decision and to really think it through. And the first one is ask yourself, am I making a big decision based on emotions? So in essence, the first lesson is don't make big decisions based on your emotions. I mean, if you're feeling exhausted and you're feeling, really down, you need to really sit down and think about, what is it that I'm down about? What is it that is causing me to feel this way? Because guys, when you're frustrated with something, it clouds your judgment. Just like when I made the decision to leave and go to Wella, yes, it sounded so great to me, but I was so frustrated that my judgment was really clouded. Had I really taken the time to ask the right questions and to really find out what the job entailed, and I figured that out more, then I would have made a better educated decision on whether that was the right thing for me to do. And maybe if I would have talked with my staff and shared it and trying not to control everything on my own, maybe things would have turned out a little bit differently. I probably wouldn't have taken the full-time job. Maybe it would have been a part-time job, but I didn't. I made a decision, a rash decision based on my emotion. And the second one is the environment that you're working in, is that part of why you're frustrated? I share this with you because this is just one story in my career. I mean, when I talk about being in the industry 43 years, this was the most impactful event in my hair styling career that affected me hugely. But there's been other things too. And that's why I ask you to ask yourself something. Your environment matters, guys. Are you in the right salon environment? Are you in a place where you feel supported? Are you around people that lift you up and that you look up to and that you want to be like? Because when you're working in an environment that is toxic, or its vibe is not you, or you're not getting supported in the education that you need to succeed in this industry, then it's just going to lead you down a path of feeling frustrated, and you're going to make a decision to leave. And one day you're going to be sitting on a phone call with your sister, and your sister, who stayed the course, is going to complain about having to work 4 days, when in essence, she always works 2 days a week, making just as much as you do, working a 9-to-5 job, because you quit, because you didn't stop to think about that. And you can't let fear keep you where you're at. I bring up fear because fear, guys, fear of change, fear of upsetting the owner, fear of, oh my gosh, just fear of making a mistake, guys. It can keep you back from your destiny and what you're meant to do. You know, you're a hairstylist for a reason. I'm going to guess I have worked in this industry. I've worked around so many talented people, so many creative people, so many people that love to bless others and make them feel good about themselves. There's so much to this industry. It's more than just the hard things. But if we're not in an environment where we are around people that are lifting us up, that the vibe is us, that we're being supported, that we're being challenged, then it can lead to a place where you feel like you've made a mistake as well. So ask yourself, my environment, am I in the right environment? And the third one is know why you're doing what you're doing. Know why you're being a hairstylist. Know why you're working where you're working at. Some things to think about, like, so many times we chase things. Like, when I look back in my career at that moment in my life, there's some personal decisions that I made in my life that I'm not proud of. And I think when I was really, like, when I decided to buy that salon before I was even ready, I was thinking in my head, oh my gosh, you know, my kids are going to be so proud of me. I'm going to leave a legacy for them. My parents aren't going to think of me as just this hairdresser that has made some mistakes. That, like, you know, I was looking for the approval of others and not thinking about what I really wanted and thinking it through. Are you chasing expectations of somebody else or of yourself? And what are you trying to prove to yourself? Because, and I say that as I was writing these notes for this episode, it's like myself, that path that I walked down where God just took everything out from under me, I had been spending all that time proving to myself that I wasn't a failure, that I wasn't dumb like I had been told I was numerous times growing up, that I could fit in with my peers, you know, because I was still that child in me that did not fit in as a child socially. She was still trying to prove something to herself. Are you? What I learned from this whole experience and coming back to the salon, what ended up happening, guys, was a lot of my clients came back to me. They did. I was so blessed. We ended up rebuilding the salon. In essence, we did end up both ending the marriage and closing the salon. And I ended up opening a small salon, and I was so much happier. I realized that what I truly loved about my whole career was the connection with my clients. I had that back. I loved the independence. I could set my schedule, how I worked, the amount of money I was making. It was all up to me. And I could be creative. All that was back. And I was in a place that aligned with me as a person. So today, I shared this story with you. This was years ago that this happened. And since that time, I've had to rebuild my business another time when I decided to pick up and leave and move to Phoenix. It didn't scare me. I knew that I was making the right decision and I knew what I was getting into, and I built a business quickly. And here I am. I'm semi-retired. I'm working 2 days a week. And I'm making a nice income. And I have my finances in order. and I'm in a really happy marriage. And I'm a grandma, and I'm working in a salon with people that I really enjoy working with. And that didn't happen, guys, just because it just happened. It happened because I persevered through it. I grew from my mistakes. I faced them head on. I was humble enough to learn from them. I got the help I needed, and I rebuilt, and I stayed the course, and here I am. And so now I just want to encourage you. Where are you right now? Are you feeling discouraged like I was? I want you to pause before you make a decision and maybe ask yourself a few questions. Is it really the industry you're not happy with? Or is it the environment? Or maybe are you just in a season that requires growth? You see, guys, this industry, it gives you incredible freedom, both personally and financially. But I'm speaking to you from experience. You have to stay long enough to build it. Your chair that you work behind, it can become a powerful business that gives you financial freedom and personal freedom, but it doesn't happen overnight. So I go back to the story about my sisters. I love them so much. And I feel bad about saying what I said, but I'm really happy that I have the skill that I have today and the freedom that it has caused me or has given me. And the freedom didn't happen by accident. The freedom that I live today, it happened because I stayed the course. And it is my hope, guys, that this episode, this story that I share with you, I hope that it encourages you to stay the course as well. If you've listened this far, guys, I just want to thank you. And I want to share with you that, hey, if you are in a place where you're like, I think I want to quit. I think this industry isn't for me and I don't know what to do. I want you to know that I'm here to help you. I have 2 different ways for that. Number 1, go to my Facebook group. The link is in the show notes below. Go there, make a post, DM me privately. I opened this Facebook so that I could just get in these conversations with you guys and help you. But also I do coaching as well. And if that's something that you need as well, do visit On Point Hair by Sherry, SHERRI.com. As soon as you hit that website and get in there, you'll see I have a link right there to the coaching call. I would love to talk with you. I know firsthand what I can do in 1 hour because I've helped many, many hairstylists get unstuck and get them on the right path. Anyways, guys, you have a gift in your hands and it's up to you on whether you're going to use it or not. Anyway, happy haircutting, and I will see you on the next episode. Thank you for listening. Hey friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If it helped you, I'd love for you to hit subscribe and leave a quick review and share what stood out most for you today. When you leave a review, it helps other stylists find this show. And hey, if you want to hang out with me more and learn alongside other like-minded stylists who are working on building their clientele as well, I have a free Facebook group I just started. You'll find the link in the show notes below. I'd love to have you there and hang out with you. I'll be back next week. Until then, happy haircutting, and remember, your chair is your business, so own it like a pro.